Hello everybody and welcome back to the Blue Lady Couture sewing room. Today I'm going to be making an Edwardian blouse, which is going to form part of an outfit that I am hoping to wear and film and photograph in a couple of weeks' time as part of my ongoing project for this summer, which is my Edwardian Historybounding Spring Summer Lookbook. If you haven't already, do go check out the previous videos, and the first video will show you an overview of the project and some of my design work, so you can see what I'm hoping to make throughout this project. And then you can follow along with some of the sewing projects and my adventures where I wear my projects out and about to get some lovely aesthetic footage and some photographs for my Etsy shop and my online social media accounts. And if you haven't already, do make sure you are subscribed to my channel so you can be notified when all these videos go out, because it's going to be quite a long ongoing series, so make sure you don't miss out. So yeah, so head up to the subscribe button and click the notification bell so that you can be notified when those videos go out. So yes, I am heading to the seaside in a couple of weeks' time, because what is more quintessentially British than heading to the seaside? So I know it's a little bit cliche to do Edwardian seaside, but you know what, you just can't beat the charm of a traditional British seaside town. So I'm planning to vlog and photograph two slightly different outfits, or they kind of do utilise pieces kind of each other. So as I said, I'm making a lookbook, so all of the pieces ideally kind of work together within your wardrobe. So I already have a petticoat, which also doubles as a skirt, and then I also have a classic Edwardian linen walking skirt as well, which is what this blouse is going to be teamed with. So this is the fabric that I'm going to be using. It is a lovely 100% cotton Italian shirting weight fabric, and Italian shirting is just so lovely. It's so soft and smooth. It's just really, really lovely. I'm hoping it'll be equally lovely to sew with, which I'm sure it will be. But it's an off-white kind of ivory, so not quite beige, but an ivory kind of base colour, and then it has these fine blue stripes running down it. Well, so I think that's just going to be lovely. You know me, I love my stripes, and playing around with stripes going different ways. So I'm not going to be doing anything too ostentatious with this blouse, because I don't want it to take too long. I want it to be quite a quick project that I can do this afternoon. But it is going to be a yoked style blouse, and then it's going to have a gathered lower section to the bodice as well. So yes, I'll be able to play around a little bit with the way the stripes go on across the top of the chest and things like that. I also have these vintage buttons, beautiful vintage glass buttons, which I am hoping to be able to use as well. And I think they might be a lovely finishing touch. They may be slightly the wrong shade of blue, but I think once I get the blouse together and on the mannequin, I can kind of position them and play around a little bit more. If not, I might swap them out for something else, but at the moment the plan is to use those. So what do you think? So in terms of patterns, I'm actually going to use a kind of a mishmash of patterns that I have in my stash, and I'm also going to be doing some cutting on the stand as well, mainly because I don't have the specific pattern that I actually need for this readily available, and in the interest of saving time, I don't want to have to draft by hand, which will take a long time, or draft on the computer and then have to print out and stick all the little bits of paper together. I kind of want to crack on with this, and I know it's a simple enough design that I can utilise some patterns that I've already got in my stash, and then I can do some bits on the stand as well. So yeah, so that's my plan. I think it will be fine, but we'll see how I get on. So without further ado, let's get this fabric cut out. yoke pieces out from the base pattern I'm using, but as you can see I need to do a little something with the neckline up here, because the problem being that the yoke pieces from the base pattern that I was using has a square cut out neckline, which means obviously I don't know quite where the curve to sit snug around the neckline for a high neck blouse is going to be. So basically when I've cut this pattern out, I've just continued these lines up to more or less a point here, and now I'll pin them on the mannequin and I can then clip that curve. So when I said I was going to do a mishmash of patterns along with some draping, this is kind of what I meant, because I kind of knew the base pattern for this is fine, but I just need to sort out where that neckline is going to be, so I'm going to do that now. So the centre back is going to have a seam down it here, so I'm just going to pin that where I need that to be. Now I'm not too worried about this centre front line at this precise moment, because I am going to, basically I'm going to be making a separate button stand to go down the centre front, because the stripes are going to run vertically on the button stand. So I've overlocked the sides of the bodice panels and along the top edge where it will attach to the yoke, and as you can see I've run a double line of gathering stitches along the top of the panel, and I've done that on the front and back pieces as well. So I'm just going to lightly gather these up and then we'll attach them to the yokes. One of the tricks when you're doing this gathering by hand technique is to take it slow and steady. If you yank really hard on the threads, then the threads will break. And I know the whole idea of having the double thread is so that if one breaks, you've still got that one to hopefully get you through to the end. But yeah, if you're gentle enough, you should just feel the fabric just glide along the threads. And you just do it a little bit at a time. Obviously you need to make sure that your machine is on the widest or the longest stitch setting that you can do. On mine that's a 5, and you can loosen the tension a little bit as well, just to make it a little bit easier, just to so you can see how easily that slides. Now obviously some fabrics slide and gather better than others. And that is one of the beauties of this kind of gorgeous shirting weight cotton, is that it's just so nice to work with. So I'll probably need to ungather that just a little bit when I come to put it on the yoke, but that will do for now. So now that the basic bodice of the blouse is together, I have overlocked the hem and just turned it up by 0.5 centimetre. Because now I need to put on the button stands, and that is these strips, which is 3 inches wide, seamed down the end, then turned through and pressed under on one side, and there is a piece of interfacing in there as well to give it a bit more stability and support, because the buttons, being glass buttons on metal shanks, they're quite heavy, so yeah, I want to make sure that they're nice and supported. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pin the stand in place, although I want to make sure I pin on the right side, or rather I want to pin to the wrong side. So I'm going to pin the placket onto the wrong side of the front of the blouse, so that when it turns it will turn through, and then this nice folded edge that I've pressed here will be top stitched down in place. And that will just mean it's nice and neat, and I can stitch right along that edge line. So here we are so far. I've just popped it on the mannequin and kind of pinned it closed just to give you an idea of where we're at. So yeah, so obviously the yoke is done, bodice panels are gathered in, and the button stand placket is on the front now. I've just popped some pins in around the waist because when I finish this off I am going to put a gathering channel around the waist, so make it obviously into more of an Edwardian shirtwaist. So the excess around the waist is just going to be gathered in, so just give you an idea of how it will look. And then if I spin it round, here is the back. Yay for pattern matching. We do like a nice chevron pattern match on the back of a bodice. All that's left to do, she says, is the sleeves, the collar, the buttons and buttonholes, and the waist band waist tape around the middle there. We have progress. After pressing record on photo mode rather than video mode, I'll try this again. So I've just come back from having a little bit of a break, a little bit of a sit down, have some dinner and a cup of tea, and I'm going to carry on with my blouse. I'm going to do the sleeves next. But while this is just sat on the mannequin, I just thought I would pop the buttons on just to take them off the card, and they can just sit kind of on here in the background for sort of the next sort of hour or so while I do the next part of the blouse. And I can just sort of have a little think about whether these are working for me, and I think they are now that they're off the card and actually on the fabric. I was a bit concerned that these are a bit too blue compared to the blue on the blouse. On the fabric is kind of a different kind of blue, but it actually brings out the blue in this stripe, I think. So I actually think they work quite nicely, and they just add a little bit more interest down the front rather than just some plain kind of white or ivory sort of buttons. I think I will be going with these buttons, but so I'm just going to leave them on the mannequin pinned in place just for a little while I carry on and make a final decision. I was a bit concerned when this is on the mannequin that it looks a bit gappy kind of here sort of around the sides and under the arms, but I have had just a quick try on and just in front of the mirror in the other room, and this is fine on me, so I'm not too worried about that. That's all looking good. And yeah, and the neck size again on me is spot on. It's a little bit snug around the collar on this mannequin, but on me it's absolutely fine. So yeah, onwards. So for the sleeves, I used the pattern, or I stole them from the pattern of my Mary Poppins blouse that I made a few years ago now. And do go check that video out if you want to. It's one of my earliest videos, so you have to forgive the quality on it. But yeah, if you want to see the making of my Mary Poppins blouse, based on the Mary Poppins Returns costumes, do go check that out. Yeah, that features these sleeves, but bigger. And I decided that, well, I like that pattern, it's a pattern that works for me, and I just don't think you can beat poofy sleeved blouses. No, if you want normal sleeved blouses, go out and buy them from the shops. If you want poofy sleeve blouses, then you know you have to make them. So yeah, make all your sleeves poofy sleeve blouses, because they're just the best, and there's just something about them that's just, I don't know, it's just on point for that period kind of look, isn't it? So yes, so that's what I wanted to go for, but I didn't want to overdo the volume. I want this to be a blouse that I will hopefully wear sort of day to day, whereas my Mary Poppins blouse, it's a very OTT blouse because it's really intense stripes on it and it's got these huge sleeves on it, and yeah, I tend to only kind of gravitate towards it for when I want to kind of dress up and kind of wear a statement outfit. So this I want to be a little bit more subtle, so I toned down the volume on the sleeves just a tad. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with how that's looking. It has a slight shaping to it. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Hopefully you can see this. I've just, where instead of darting the elbow, I have just put 3 teeny tiny little pleats in, which again, it just adds that little bit more of a period feel to it. And yeah, we are progressing. When I was cutting out the interfacing, that I just completely forgot to, I measured and marked it up to the seam line there, and then took the seam allowance off again, which I didn't need to do. So in the interest of not wasting too much of this interfacing, because it is quite expensive, I'm just going to put a piece in across the back like so. And always make a note of what side, up or down, the sticky bit of your interfacing is facing, because you don't want to lay it the wrong way down and then stick your iron on top of it, because that's not going to be fun, having to clean your iron off. So before I turn the collar through, I'm just going to clip it and trim it so it sits nice and flat and neat. So I'm clipping through both layers of the top edge. And then on the bottom, for now, I'm just going to clip through what will be the outside of the collar, the good side, the side that everyone's going to see. So I'm just snipping in there, and I need to be careful not to cut too far into the seam allowance, or it will cut through where my stitching line is going to be momentarily. And then what I'm now going to do is press up the seam allowance on that single layer, the outer layer that I've just snipped. So that will just mean, because I've snipped it, it's just going to help me ease that curve around as I press it. And then I will turn it through and it's ready to be put onto the blouse. That's the collar, is is done and ready to go onto the bodice of the blouse now. And as you can see, this underside here, that will be stitched onto the inside of the neckline, and then pressed up, folded up, and then the outer top edge will come down over and catch in the raw edge of the neckline, and then I can top stitch right down along the edge, which gives that nice neat finish, and I can see exactly where that top stitch line needs to sit along that folded edge. That means I don't get wobbly stitching that doesn't miss it here and there from stitching it from the other side. So that's the way I like to put my collars on. So the last kind of construction job that I have to do before I put the buttonholes in is to put the waist tape on. So you can see I've marked here, this is about 6 inches up from the hemline of the blouse. It's just a fraction under my natural waist, but that's because when you pull the blouse in tight to your waist, it's going to probably rise up a little bit. So I want to just make sure I've got that little bit of freedom of movement in my arm movements and things like that, so it's not going to pull the blouse up when I'm wearing it. I hope that makes sense. So I have marked the what will be the waistline for the waist tape. I put gathering stitches in towards the centre front, and again up here across the centre back, and obviously there's another row on the towards the centre front on the other side of the blouse as well. So I'm going to gather in these and then apply my waist tape over the top. I'm leaving it ungathered here, but there will be a drawstring ribbon will run through the waist tape, so I can pull in a little bit snugger if I need to. Just give me that little bit of flexibility, depending on whether I'm wearing corseting underneath, not corseting, having a bloated day, whatever, that kind of thing. So just give me a little bit of flexibility than making it actually snug to my waist every time Okay, so that's the waist tape on and the drawstring ribbon in place. Although to be honest, I think I've cut the waistband a bit snug anyway, so the drawstring's probably going to be neither here nor there when I actually wear it, but never mind, it's what it is. It's there, it's in. So I'm actually not going to do the buttonholes right this second because I need to set up my other machine, my embroidery / sewing machine. It does much better buttonholes than my regular sewing machine, so I like to use that. But I know I have my next part of this outfit also has a lot of buttonholes, so I'm going to basically do all the buttonholes in one go, so I don't have to reset up the machine and put it away and get it back out again. So yeah, so for now, this is as done as it's going to get. So I'm going to move on and start work on the jacket. So here is the finished blouse. I'm giving you a little sneak peek just in my studio before I take it on my little trip to the seaside in a few weeks' time. I'm going to put the footage for my trip to the seaside in a different vlog. I'm not 100% sure which one yet. I think it will be after I've made the jacket, but don't hold me to that. So make sure you're subscribed to my channel so that you will know when my next videos go out, and you'll be notified as to which ones they are. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up using the little thumbs up icon just below the screen, and do leave me a comment as well, because that really helps me grow my channel, and that's one of my big challenges for this year, is to grow my channel as much as I can, and I need your help to do that. I'm really pleased with how my Edwardian blouse has turned out, and I can't wait to show you the rest of the outfit that I am making and styling, and then finally reveal it on my trip to the seaside. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care, guys. Bye!